Welcome to Networked, hosted by Hive. Networked is your seat at the table for the conversations, connections, and insights shaping the next generation of leaders. Today, we're highlighting one of our members that I've personally used for some of my clients, Antonio Davis. Antonio, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us. So, tell us a little bit about your story, kind of where you came from, how you got to where you're at today in HVAC.
Well, I was adopted from Guatemala when I was about 4 months old. I've been given a pretty lucky opportunity to be here and to be where I'm at. I went to school in Muncie. I'm still located in the Muncie area. We played soccer together for a while. That was fun. DCFC, good recreational. I am still in the Muncie area. I have a German Shepherd. She'll usually run my calls with me a lot. She's my right hand girl. We do a lot of stuff in the area. I like to, go out, network with as many people as I can, talk with a lot of my friends, go out here and there. I've been in the HVAC trade for about 6 years now coming up. My business has been going strong for about a year now, so I'm very grateful, very thankful for where I am with that.
Yeah, I remember seeing you at the Muncie Planet Fitness, and I was like,
Yes.
man, I don't know if he remembers me or not, but yeah, we go back to our soccer days, traveling, and I don't play anymore. Do you?
Yeah,
You
I
still do?
still do. I
Okay.
still do it. They do like winter teams. It's Friday nights, and then they do like pickup games over there still at DCFC in
Okay.
the indoor facility. So been able to get back into it this last year. It's been honestly, I missed it a lot more than I realized it. So it
Okay.
is it is cool to see just how far both of us have really come over the years too.
Yeah,
It's
good
really
deal.
cool.
Talk a little bit more about that. Like when you and I went from playing travel soccer together to like now we network, we do business together, we
hmm
refer each other clients. What has that whole process looked like for you from travel soccer
hmm
to owning an HVAC business?
I mean, I was really kind of looking to find like my itch, like what I really enjoyed doing. From travel soccer, I graduated from high school. I tried college out for a while, looked at getting my general studies. I was even looking at getting my psychology degree as well. Schooling just wasn't really for me. I wanted to be a little bit more hands on. One of my good buddies, his dad he's a master carpenter, and when I was beginning my journey of realizing college wasn't necessarily for me, I was thinking about becoming an electrician. And he sat me down and talked to me. He said, you should look at HVAC. You'll have work in the summer and work in the spring, all year round, in the winter too. So I was like, that's perfect opportunity just to stay busy all year round. So I was able to, me starting out, I was green. I didn't know anything. So I texted all the companies in my area just like, hey, will you give me a shot? Will you give me a shot? Like, I'm new. I'm ready to learn. I'm out the door. One company, it was a locally owned company up in Albany, Indiana. They took me on, taught me for about 2 years, good amount of what I know. I was fortunate enough to actually go up to Chicago and get certified in a couple boiler units. I'm certified in all types of gas utilities, air conditioners now. And then on my own, I did a little bit of separate online schooling at a college to kind of bump me up with that. And then after my 2 years there were kind of done, I filled my spot there, learned what I could from them. I joined at Peterman Brothers, which is a big name. It's, the largest heating and cooling plumbing company in Indiana. So I was able to see how both the scale was for a small locally owned company and then for a large scale company. I was able to grow and learn. I was hired in at their tier 3 apprentice, highest apprenticeship you can get there. They do a tier system. And then, I worked there for about a year and I was able to become a lead and work and run my own jobs, which was a great learning experience. And then I was able to go off on my own.
So was it the opportunity to kind of run your own jobs that made you realize like what does business ownership look like? Could I do this for myself and not for somebody else? What was it like to experience that?
It was overall, I could just see myself getting into the routine. It was very repetitive for me. The long days, the long hours, as an installer, I was able to see the amount of money my jobs would cost me every single day. And I realized to myself, I was like, if I do this for myself, I can save customers not just hundreds, but thousands of dollars to be comfortable, to just be comfortable in their own home. I can save you money. And I wanted to get into being on both sides. I wanted to get more into the white collar and blue collar phase. I was tired of necessarily being the installer. Now, mind you, I was in clean clothes every day, but I'm doing it constantly. So all my clothes are stained, from working hard all the weeks through, all the months through. And I was just, tired of being the guy that was just stuck in the closet hey, he's just installing our furnace. He's got our heat back up. We're done. We won't ever see him again. If there's ever any other problems, Peterman's going to send, or another bigger company is going to send their service side to it too. I wanted to be all parts. I'm a very, very people's person. I like, presenting myself and talking and getting to know my customers, and getting to know just the clients that weren't even necessarily my customers, just that I was doing business in your home. Tell me about you, just as much as you can with a HVAC guy, just with the installer. But I was tired of just that label. I wanted to do everything full scale.
So you kind of went from, I'm just going to learn HVAC. There's some decent money in it. I'm going to go be an installer, to realizing like I could build a relationship with these people. Mm-hmm. Like they could know me and not know Peterman Brothers.
Exactly.
Or whoever you're working for at the time. I want to back up a little bit though, because you mentioned getting certified. Mm-hmm. So for your company, do you get certified as an individual, or when you went off on your own, did you have to get more now that you run the company?
So there's more certifications you have to go through, like, your LLC process, your contractor's license. You have to be able to apply and then go through the steps to pull permits in certain areas. Not every county's rules are the same. Delaware County is a lot different than down here in some of the Indianapolis areas, and in some of the other work I've done for, like in the Fort Wayne area as well. Some, even just simple residential swap outs I have to get permits for. Other ones I don't have to. All across the board, though, I was able to get my EPA universal license. That's just my license that's saying, hey, you're good to handle refrigerants. You know what you're doing. So I was very fortunate to do that. I did that with my first company. My first boss paid for me to get that schooling done, so I was very grateful for that. Mm-hmm. I know Peterman offered like some other separate training, but for the most part, all the certifications I acquired were like in my early days. And then whenever I was starting out my business, I was able just to check everything off the list that I needed.
How do you feel it? So going from a larger company to doing your own thing, a larger company already has a lot of systems in place as far as relationship management with the customer, reaching out, scheduling. What have you found to be something that, maybe you're like, oh, wow, now I run my own business. I actually have to be conscious of X, Y, and Z. I've noticed on everything that I've sent you for HVAC, you're very good at communicating with the customer. Mm-hmm. Is that something you were still doing with Peterman, or is that something that you've had to learn and adapt to?
Communication has always been one of my big strong suits. I always love talking to people, even on my way to the call. Hey, I'm going to be there about 30 minutes. Here's my name. Here's everything we're going to be doing for you today. That was routine for me at Peterman's. And I was able to just take that and the ability to talk to other customers, just strangers that, you're spending thousands of dollars worth of equipment to be comfortable again. I was able to just, be more comfortable with putting my foot in the door with that. So Peterman's definitely gave me practice on that, but I didn't need too much. I was able to really run and strive with that. I still, communication is key. I'm big on believing that communication and being honest is so key within my industry and with a lot of other industries, and being, just a good person all the way around. It's just very important to keep everybody in the loop. When there's an issue, my customers, they're always, upset because nobody wants to call me throughout the year. They could go all year without giving me a call. And, we're going into the fact that now something is broken or something just needs replaced. So all my customers are worried about is just the money. Okay, how much is this going to cost? How much is this going to set me back? How much do I have to save for? It's just, the list goes on and on and on of uneasy customers I'm usually greeting. So I just try and present myself best as I can. I'm not the type to just try and go out and, hey, I just want to sell you a new furnace because I can. I want to be able to be that guy you call that you can trust, who's dependable, who, yeah, I know Antonio. He's going to give me A, B, C, D, and E of options of what I can do. and he's just going to be honest about what all these options will provide for me.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are customers that you probably meet that, I mean, even in a business like mine too, I talk to a lot of people that are like, well, we've had a bad experience with a realtor in the past.
Yeah.
It's like, great, you haven't had a bad experience with Nick in the past. So somebody on the same wavelength as that with you, you probably walk in and they're like, well, we've dealt with this company before.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of had a bad experience with HVAC in the past. And you are the one that's like, well, you haven't had a bad experience with Antonio, so let's change the pace or, change your opinion on HVAC. Have you run into that before?
Exactly. Yeah, I have. I'll come in behind when you have to say replace a 20-year-old furnace, a lot of other customers, they want other quotes for you too, and just to see where they're going to save their most money. I totally understand that. So I've definitely been in behind that before, and I've seen that. I'm not being stereotyped, but kind of, just because that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I understand that. That's why my big thing is I just try and be completely honest and upfront with everything. My name is on the company for a reason. I don't care to sell you a furnace or an air conditioner. I care to sell you in a way myself and what I can provide for you just as a person. Like I try and really level with all the single people that I'm able to touch hands with, all my customers. I just try and level with you just as best as I can, just to let you know that, I'm here. I'm not this company, I'm not that company. I'm here to try and help you. One of my favorite sayings is comfort at a comfortable price. That's something I personally really strive for, because that's very doable. And I can provide that to my customers, so I try to.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about Hive.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, and we've talked before, like early on when you got involved, about just being in a blue collar space and kind of taking that more into white collar, getting to network with the other business owners. And you mentioned it earlier, like not just being an installer.
Yeah.
You want to be Antonio, you want to be the owner, you want to build something for yourself. So what has it been like for you to get involved in a room like Hive? What does it mean to you?
I mean, Hive has just been honestly a wonderful opportunity all across the board. I mean, I'm very fortunate enough that with my trade, I can touch everybody's hands that I come across with the simple question of how comfortable is your home. I love being able to get in that space and meet people and be in the same room of like-minded individuals who want to keep growing. They're either doing their own business, thinking about doing their own thing, and it's just wonderful to see just how far it's come and how far it's grown. I'm very excited to see you guys continue to grow and the opportunities you provide, like this one, for example, and all the other ones you're able to, with the amount of good speakers you're able to have too. I always feel like after the third Tuesday of every month, that's one of my favorite days, because that's when I get to leave a room with people I know and so many people I don't know that I got a chance to, and I feel so refreshed overall at the end of the day, at the end of the night, no matter the drive or anything like that. That doesn't faze me, but just the fact that I'm able to grow and expand myself, and not just my business, but me, touch other hands. I'm big on that, and just grow from there. It's been wonderful, honestly.
Who's been your favorite speaker? What's been your favorite activity, event, meeting? What have been your favorite things?
So far, my favorite things, I really did enjoy the life coach we had last couple weeks at our meeting. He was a really good, interesting guy to hear from. I cannot remember her name either, but it was the speaker we had at the furniture store who brought all the books.
Yeah.
I was able to, I followed up on her list, and I've been in the process of reading those, so that was really able to resonate with me. I know the Christmas event that we did too, that was really fun, just to get everybody in the room, to get, some cocktails, just to sit down, more casual, and just talk for a few hours. I mean, I was there for the whole event and just got to meet and, introduce myself to so many more people and just get to know more about them, their business, but more so like, who are you just as a person? That's just what I want to figure out. So
Yeah, it's pretty refreshing from what I've experienced too, building a network, that a lot of events you show up and you see the buttoned up, the professional, the business version of people, and you connect with them, of course. But what we want to provide too, and I think what you're seeing is that like we want to give you an environment to actually meet the people beyond just their business.
exactly.
And so, you might meet even another HVAC person that's in a different colony, but you guys might have a very similar interest. That's a new friend.
Yes, exactly. I think, you know, I've met a lot of people. I've been able to set up a lot of networking coffees, lunches through Hive, which I've been so fortunate about, and been able to connect with a lot of people on a deeper end too, and make that friendship. It's been nice to know that it's just, you know, Hive is more than business. Hive is home, you know, and I really like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your future plans.
Future plans, I want Indiana to be my main structure. You know, I'm trying to create a good foundation in the Muncie area, and I'm working on building that here in the Indianapolis area as well and all the surrounding areas. Within the next 10 to 15 years, I would really like to have a couple of my guys just be able to run my company here in Indiana statewide. And I'm very fortunate enough, I know I mentioned this earlier, I can go anywhere that I'd like to. I can go anywhere in the world with my trade. You know, everywhere across the United States, I'm very fortunate I could touch. So eventually I'd really like to travel and expand that way, get all the licensings that I need, contractor's license, all that fun stuff, to be able to go around in the surrounding states and the areas. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do some work in Ohio and in Michigan. I have some clientels up there, so I really just want to expand while making Indiana my hub, my home. I really want to be able to go nationwide, even if it's just with me, myself, and I, just to say, hey, I've done a house in Colorado. I've done 5 houses in California. You know, just kind of go from that.
The life experience I think you would get from doing business and being able to travel while you do it is invaluable.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially being so young. Like, how old are you?
24.
24, and you are building a business that could be nationwide, and you could just travel and work and experience so much more life than a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You have talked to me before about another business venture maybe that you would get into. And so I'm curious of A, what that is, and B, how would you be able to operate your HVAC business and throw in something else on top?
So what I'm looking at opening up my second business this spring. It's going to be called Tip the Bottle Bartending. I've always found a lot of fun doing that, and you know, it's just a way to touch more hands. I can be that in that dressed up environment I like to do, and I'm really looking to make that more of a source of doing weddings and parties and bar mitzvahs, that type of stuff. Doing more so events with that, so I can, you know, be fortunate enough to go ahead and, you know, while say I am lucky enough and fortunate enough to travel across the United States, maybe even the world someday, I would be able to help everybody with their heating and cooling needs, and also any events like that, so they can still work together. I still think I'm very free to be able to go run both businesses with my future plans, because everybody will need heating and cooling. Everybody wants to be comfortable, and a lot of people here drink. So, you know, a lot of ways to go out there. A lot of people have those opportunities that I'm waiting to knock at their door for.
Yep, that's awesome. We've learned a ton about your business. We've learned your plans. We've gotten into some of those weeds. We've got a few minutes. We're going to give you a little bit more just like funny kind of, you know, personal questions here. Not personal questions, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're going to give you some funny stuff here at the end just to learn a little bit more about, you know, who you are. So we're going to go with some this or that questions.
Okay.
Coffee or energy drink?
You know, I've tried to get back into coffee, and with networking so much, I've been able to, but I will have to stick with my Red Bull, probably.
Stick with your Red Bull.
Yeah.
You go sugar-free, regular?
I go regular. I know sugar-free is better,
Just
but
a classic, no flavors, nothing classic Red Bull.
oh, you got to do flavors, man. I mean, the classic ones, it's classic, but they have this new one out. It's the Ice Vanilla Berry. Kind of has my heart right now. It's really, really good.
Is that the blue can?
Yep.
Like the light blue one?
Yep.
Okay.
light blue
I haven't
one's
had
really
that.
good. Yep. Yeah, that's my favorite right
I might grab that before a networking event this evening. So,
now. Yeah.
all right, early bird or night owl?
Ooh, I like doing both, but overall, I prefer being an early bird. I like having the majority of my day just wide out in the open, and I can stay up late too. So
Okay, so you're both.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit. My sleeping schedule can suffer a little bit more, but I usually try and just get up early in the morning. So then, time's very valuable to me. So just that I feel like I have more of that throughout my day to do what I want.
Yep, 100%. Phone call or text?
I guess I would rather prefer phone call. I used to be text, but yeah, I'd rather talk to someone.
Yep, that's what we talked about earlier too. Is just I'd much rather call, get an actual person. No, like I think Zane mentioned it earlier that like I could text somebody, then I'm waiting on a response. It's taking me 5 minutes to write the text out versus I could pick up the phone, call somebody, probably have a really good interaction with them, and it would take 5 minutes for something that's like a 20-minute text conversation.
Exactly. Then you're waiting for the response and everything
Yep.
else where it's like, we could just go ahead and do this right now, you know? Yeah.
Work from home or work from the office, but you're a little bit more interesting on that. Like you're kind of on the ground, like at all of your jobs, right?
Yeah, yeah. Usually, I would say I prefer to always be out of the office. I mean, I've gotten spoiled with being an installer, going into seeing new environments, going to other people's homes. It just switches it up for me. I've done commercial work. I enjoy commercial work, but not as much as residential because it's new. Every single day or every other day, it's new instead of the same job for 4 to 6 months.
Yep. Big risk or steady grind. So would you rather just kind of go all in, or would you rather just, brick by brick?
A little bit of both, but I'm big on taking risks. That's what life is all about overall. It's too short. You just have to go out and try and do whatever you want to try and do. If you fail, that's wonderful. I know that sounds weird, but failure is going to be your best teacher.
I love that. Do you think what's a lesson that failure's taught you?
It's taught me a lot. Failure has taught me just to never give up, no matter how bad it seems to go. Overall, when I was doing my normal, it wasn't even 9 to 5. I was working 14 to 18-hour days back at my old company. Things got dark for a little bit, where it's just I'm big on time, and I didn't have that. I was staying up extra late just to feel like I had a little bit of something within my day, but I just wasn't being fulfilled. So just going through that, it just taught me, stick with it. Everything happens for a reason. If you feel like you should try this, try it. There's no harm, no foul,
Yeah, take the risk. I love it.
Exactly.
And then we'll finish up with a couple things. Number one, just a couple questions about your business, and then we'll get we'll learn some more about like your contact information and get it out to our audience. But
Yeah.
number one, what does success look like to you in the next season of your life?
In the next season of my life, I just want to be able to grow my clientele. Just, I've been fortunate enough to do that, and I want to continue to touch other people's hands and go out there and just do what I can to help people out to the best of my ability.
And then what do you wish other people understood about the HVAC business?
I wish more people understood that yearly maintenance really does a lot. It's not a bill that you can maybe just save for the next year, for 5 years down the road. You should really get your air conditioner looked at in the beginning of spring before you're using it. And then you should really get your furnace checked just right before the heating season as well. That saves on years of, failures and equipment and everything else. So I would just really, really push for that. And please change your filters. Please change your filters.
Change your filters. I can tell you that as a realtor that sees inspection reports. Change your filters.
Yep.
Okay, so where can our listeners find you, and what would be the next step to get connected with you?
You can find me. My phone rings constantly, 765-744-3551. That's my business number. My email is also accheating365@gmail.com. I'm on currently all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I post point of view videos so people can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit more. And I'm working on getting an official website up, but you can also find me on Yelp right now.
Okay, awesome. Guys, they're the ways to contact Antonio. He is awesome. And like he just said, it's getting into late spring. We're about to fire up the AC. So talk to Antonio if you guys have any questions about it. Antonio, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.